suffering from wince face due to an injury? Or maybe from back, muscle, or joint pain? Even if you're unsure what that pain is, the specialists at the Iowa Clinic Bone and Joint Center can help you feel better from head to toe. It's coordinated. It's easy. It's all under one roof. Because no one should have to live in pain or with wince face. Call or visit iowaclinic.com today.
What's up, guys? Hope everybody's enjoying their Saturdays. Hope everybody is locked in, watching some basketball. Lots of good games going on right now. Of course, Iowa State and TCU set to tip off here in just about half an hour on ESPNU down in Fort Worth. I'm Jared Stansbury here for the pregame show today. Chris Williams is at a family Christmas, so he's not going to be able to join us, but I'm going to give you guys some of my thoughts, some of my final thoughts going into Iowa State's game against TCU here today. I talked a lot about this on the podcast yesterday. I wrote the preview on CycloneFanatic.com. You can go and check those things out still here before we hit tip-off at 1 o'clock. A couple of keys for Iowa State in this game. Really the biggest keys, I think, for the Cyclones in this game. First of all, you got to protect the paint. You got to keep TCU out of the middle of the lane. Mike Miles has been doing a great job of being able to penetrate into the middle of the lane. He's done a great job of being able to finish once he gets there. He's shooting over 60% from the field inside the three-point line. He's still a guy who can step out and knock down some shots for you from behind the three-point line, shooting about 32% from out there this season. But he's making a very concerted effort to really try and get into that paint, really attack the rim, really put pressure on defenses, collapse defenses, and then be able to kick out to his shooters, dump it down to a couple of really good front court players that they have that can finish around the rim. Speaking of those front court players, you got to be able to finish plays on the defensive end if you're Iowa State. You got to be able to close, or you have to be able to box out. You have to be able to clear guys out. You got to go and get the ball when it comes off on a miss. You got to attack the ball with tenacity and try and clear it out up above the rim. TCU is as good as you're going to find in college basketball at attacking the glass, being able to create those second shot opportunities. I think they're 17th in the nation in offensive rebounding percentage, rebounding over 30% of their misses. That's going to be a huge key for Iowa State today in this game. Clear out that middle, clear out the rebounding arc, go up and get the ball and start your possession going back the other way. Obviously, a huge piece of that for TCU is the big center, 6'11", 260 pounds, Eddie Lampkin. We've talked about him a lot on corner three, especially when I was doing it with Scott Christopherson last season. He is as good of when he's playing really well, he's as good a big man as you're going to find in the Big 12. He's a different kind of animal because of his size. He's got good feet. He's able to move people around because of his strength. He's going to give people problems on the offensive glass. Iowa State has to send. Honestly, you got to probably send multiple people at him in order to clear him out of there. I think he's 10th in the country in individual offensive rebound percentage. He's as good as anybody out there at being able to create space inside the lane on a shot and to be able to go up and get it and create second opportunities for his team. Iowa State, you got to be able to close out on the shooters. Again, Mike Miles does a really great job of being able to get into the middle of the paint, being able to kick out to guys like Emmanuel Miller, guys like Chuck O'Bannon, who can really knock down shots for you when you give them opportunities. We know that Iowa State wants to try and force teams into shooting those three-pointers. The key, they have to be contested. They have to be tough shots. Emmanuel Miller, Chuck O'Bannon, both guys with the great ability to be able to knock those down. Damian Boz, another guy who, when you close out hard on him, you got to be able to fire your feet and keep your weight underneath you in order to keep him from being able to drive by and attack the rim. All of these guys are guys who can score for you. They can knock down shots, and they're dangerous players. That's why they're won 11 games in a row, one of the longest active winning streaks in the country at this point. And then the last thing I think for Iowa State that will be so important, they have to dictate the pace. TCU wants to play fast. They're number 55 in the country in tempo. Iowa State's number 289. That's going to be a key piece, I think, early on in the game. You can't let them get out in transition. Iowa State's got to do a great job with this transition defense of getting back, being able to wall up around that rim and prevent TCU from being able to get those easy runs, straight line drives all the way to the basket. That's going to be a big key with Mike Miles because they're going to try and clear that glass and they're going to really try and get out and go and really try and put pressure on a defense by playing at a really fast pace. So you'll hear from Chris after the game on the Cyclone Fanatic Instant Reaction podcast presented by Carl Chevrolet. I'll have coverage all throughout the day on the Cyclone Fanatic social feeds, on my Twitter account. And of course, we'll have some coverage for you at CycloneFanatic.com after the game. I don't know if I would lean TCU in this game, I think, just because obviously you're going on the road. I imagine that will be a pretty hopped up environment when you consider what that school has coming up on Monday. Obviously, the team is playing really well right now. Has won 11 games in a row and is one of the teams that I think has a great opportunity to contend not only at the top of the conference, but potentially to win the conference championship with the way that they've been playing here over the last several weeks. This is a very, very good basketball team that Iowa State is going to play. They've got to do a great job of being able to dictate their game to TCU, not let TCU dictate the game to them, and be able to, keep TCU from getting anything easy. If they do that, Iowa State will have a great opportunity to play this one all the way to the end. And at that point, you never know. It comes down to who makes a play. So we'll talk to you guys after the game. Thanks again to the Iowa Clinic for being the presenting sponsors of the Cyclone Fanatic Game Day pregame show. We'll talk to you guys later.